All right, let me get it out of the way so I can actually engage with the arguments here. Corporate integrity. All right. There's actually some good points in this article, and I do want to engage with them. So let's go over this. AI's regulatory landscape is complex and inconsistent, with governance struggling to keep up with the rapidly evolving technology. That's right. We have very little regulation out in the world, and most of it is nowhere near enough. Businesses have a key role to play by applying a strong code of ethics to ensure that there is a necessary level of responsibility and accountability. I kind of see the point. When governments fail to provide the regulations we need to make sure that they actually are held accountable, they have to hold themselves accountable. And, historical precedent says they won't, but that doesn't mean that it's not something that we should strive for. Ethical AI is essential for creating a future where technology serves humanity and corporate integrity can lead the way by setting high standards. Again, set aside the fact that corporate integrity is basically non existent. Creating high standards for ethics in AI is something that we should strive for. And if it's going to be business leaders that are at the forefront of that because the governments are not, then I guess we can take that. Same argument here. Indeed, corporate integrity now tends to extend beyond legal compliance to include the ethical deployment of AI systems, with many companies strengthening due diligence to manage AI risks by adopting ethical rules, guiding principles, and internal guidelines. All of that is good. But what does it actually look like? Well, in the United States alone, 73% of C suite executives believe that ethical AI guidelines are important, at least on paper, but only 6% have deployed them. That doesn't seem to square, and brings back to my earlier point about laughing at the idea of corporate integrity, because they do love to be seen as social leaders. They love to be seen as considering social impact, but do they actually give a shit? For those wanting to act, non-binding codes of corporate conduct, and I won't read the rest because I want to focus in on that non-binding part, you need it to be binding. That's the whole idea. There's no mechanism to hold people accountable. Having them agree to arbitrary rules that they don't actually have to follow has never worked. More here about how institutional investors and shareholders can hold companies accountable. Indeed, shareholder activism for responsible AI is on the rise. For instance, 1/5 of Microsoft's investors pressed the company to manage financial and reputational risks from AI generated disinformation. A fifth. That's it. Of a single company's board. Only a fifth, despite them saying that they believe in responsible AI and the necessity of responsible AI. And not only is it just a fifth of the board, what are they worried about? Financial and reputational risks. Not societal impact, not what disinformation is doing to people, just whether it's going to keep making them money. And this is the problem with this whole argument. And I do believe here that the WEF is trying. And I believe that the people who wrote this article were well intended. And that there are people in the business world who are well intended, however few and far between they may be. But the reality is, this is not even remotely a reliable mechanism for dealing with this problem. We need our governments to catch the fuck up. That's what we need to focus on, whatever that takes. It's going to take a lot. It is. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's not a lot of great groundwork in place already. But there's no other thing we can do about this. We have to make sure that there are regulations that actually tackle the issue. Because corporations are never going to do something that does not immediately benefit them and their profit motive.